What is that? Well, I don't know, and nobody really knows, but they found it in Skara Brae. Skara Brae on the western edge of Orkney, where the Atlantic crashes against ancient cliffs. There's a village older than, those pyramids in Egypt. A place where time didn't just pass, it just settled. This is Skara Brae, a perfectly preserved Neolithic settlement buried for thousands of years beneath sand and sea spray. 8 stone homes linked like a labyrinth, each one frozen in the moment its people walked away. Here you can see their hearths, their storage boxes, even the stone furniture they carved by hand. It's as if the families who lived here stepped out for a moment and never came back, never returned. Wind, water, and time uncovered Skara Brae again in the 1800s, revealing a world from nearly 5,000 years ago. A world of farmers, fishermen, storytellers like you and me, people who watched these same waves, felt this same wind, and built a community that still stands. So come with me in this video and take a trip to Skara Brae on your phone, your TV, wherever you're watching this from. A place where the past isn't imagined, it's right under your feet. It's right under the grass. It's a fantastic place. So put it on your bucket list and enjoy this video. It's quite an interesting place. We were lucky enough to get there and go there. Although it's someplace that the few hours you have getting off the boat and taking a tour doesn't seem like enough, because there's a lot here. A lot more than I even knew about ahead of time. There's hundreds of sites that are still yet to be dug or have been dug and covered back up again. Look for Time Team. Maybe I'll put a link for it in the description or in the comments. They just finished a dig that lasted 20 years nearby, and they just covered it back up again. Fantastic discoveries of what they don't know. Every time they find another piece, they go, okay, it turns out that wasn't this, it was that. We don't know what these people were doing, but here they are. Let's visit this together and enjoy and learn from this. So enjoy the video. See you at the end. A typical Skara Brae house. Well, the ceiling is taller than it would have been. This is a replica house of number 7, which is located in the middle of the section. Right. Oh, a boat. And the houses were conveniently labeled.
Very hard if you work with too much.
So we are walking from the visitor center along this trail, and every once in a while they have something you'd recognize in history. Like we just passed we've passed the fall of Rome some time ago, and now we just passed another one. Let me find another one and we'll see. So it's quite some distance. So they're representing distance as time. And let's find another. Here comes another one. So here comes one right here. So okay. So another feature here in the UK that many people come see is Stonehenge. So the Stonehenge in distance in space to that building over here is 2,100 years, and we still have some place to go. Which, by the way, there's the ocean on our right, but there used to be a land barrier there that collapsed and filled in with seawater. But it used to be fresh water, said some time ago, not anytime recently. Oh, here's another stone. All right, the Pyramids of Giza, very popular destination, was that far ago, if that represents time. We are at a wee crossroads here, but Skara Brae, 3100 BC. So that's 5,000 years ago. And here we are. We've made it 5,000 years ago to Skara Brae. Or Skara Brae.
You got your own car? Maybe. Not sure. I've never done one yet. So we've got evidence in the crops.
So our guide was telling us that these were early houses. So over time they got better and better, but they would move the house from place to place. So that's on the bottom right there is a spot where the house used to be.
Well, see, that's.
So he was telling us that there in front of me is a tunnel, and it actually continues into this field because he showed us some ground penetrating radar, which I will try to find, that this little village extended way over there. So it's quite a large thing now. There about 100 people lived in this section. And this tunnel continues on, starts here, and it actually exits out over there. So this is quite fascinating. Similar to visiting Italica or some Roman ruin. So this predates Rome by 2,000 years. 3,000 years. By the way, the short doors are not to keep tall people out. It's to keep the wind out. So they were just as tall as we are, maybe two inches shorter. But they just used it. It was blocking off a small door is easier.
This picture was taken at the best of Broad Brook, about 400 years older than Skara Brae. See what they find in.
Oh, right. He was telling us this one had at least two entrances at a 45-degree angle for ventilation or to change depending on which way the wind is blowing. So if you do it just right, it can suck the smoke out or pull it in, depending upon what you're trying to do.
When you face Skara Brae tunnel, all the way under these people, and you see on the right hand side it goes down. Let's have a look down at the floor. Let's see what it is. Thank you.
Well, condominium number 43.
Corner shapes, left and well. It's deeper than what we see here.
All right, so this is he was just telling us that these sit on top of other existing houses, but they will not be digging them out. But the disassembly process was a little slow. They would disassemble it, use the rocks as needed. And over here is the replica we had walked through. This is the actual one. So what he's been saying is that this is 2,700 years ago. They documented people leaving. That's the oldest remnant they had. So they were living here before that, but then they left. And this place has a lot of answers, but many more questions about, like, why did they leave? They just sort of left and everything was abandoned here, pottery and toys and things like that. But below my feet here is a grate. And below that, far below that, is another floor, far lower than that. And also on this side, there's another entryway that's too big to be considered for draining to the lake here. So it's probably the original entrance of the previous village to this village. So this one's another 300-400 years. So 400 years ago, Henry VIII. So there Henry VIII lived way down there.
Keyboard or something. That's fantastic. That's good even by modern standards. Is there one here that looks similar?
I will have to get one of these.